My name is Kendra Lewis. I am 68 years old, a black woman with deep brown skin, tight silver curls, a broad nose and full lips that life has carved fine lines around. And my only daughter looked me straight in the eye and told me I disgusted her, that my presence repulsed her, that she could barely stand to look at me. Those were her exact words. What she didn't know was that, while she was spitting those knives into my face, I had already made the most radical decision of my life to sell every last thing I owned, vanish without a trace, and leave her wondering for the rest of her days what, exactly, she lost that afternoon. This is a story that might change the way you speak to the people you love, because once words leave your mouth, they don't go back. They live forever. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear will teach you that some things can be forgiven, and some words tear something so deep inside that it never truly heals. And tell me in the comments what country you're listening from, because I want to know if, all over the world, there are daughters capable of looking their mother in the face and saying she disgusts them. It all started 6 months ago, when my 35-year-old daughter Deja moved into my house with her 2 children after separating from her husband. I had been living alone since my husband Daryl died 4 years ago, rattling around in a big 5-bedroom house we'd bought back in 1980 on the edge of New Orleans. When Deja called me asking for help, I didn't hesitate for even a second. "Mama, Marquise left me for some younger woman. I don't have a house, I don't have savings, I don't have anything. Can I come stay with you until I get myself together?" Of course she could come. She was my only daughter, the mother of my 12-year-old grandson and 8-year-old granddaughter. My home was always going to be her home. The first days were beautiful. After 4 years of silence, hearing kids' laughter again, pots clanking in the kitchen, a TV murmuring in the living room, it brought me back to life. Jalen and Maya, my grandchildren, ran all over the house. They begged me for stories at night. They helped me water Daryl's azaleas and the tomatoes out back. I felt useful again, important, needed. Deja seemed grateful. "Mama, I don't know what I would have done without you. You're a lifesaver." She cooked for me, washed my clothes, straightened up the rooms. It felt like having a full family again after years of moving like a ghost through my own home. But after 2 weeks, the comments started. "Mama, why don't you trim your nails more often? They look nasty. Mama, could you shower more? Sometimes you smell kind of off. Mama, that blouse is ancient. It makes you look so sloppy." At first, I thought she might have a point. Maybe, after 4 years alone, I had started to neglect myself a little. I began paying more attention to my appearance. I clipped my nails twice a week, showered every morning, bought some new clothes instead of wearing the same faded house dresses. But the comments didn't stop. They sharpened. "Mama, you chew so loud. It's gross eating with you. Mama, when you shuffle around the house at night, you wake up the kids. Can't you move quieter? Mama, that cough of yours is so annoying. Can't you go to another room when you start hacking?" Every word felt like a knife. I started walking on tiptoe in my own house, eating in almost complete silence, holding back my cough until my chest burned so I wouldn't bother anybody. I was becoming a ghost for the second time, but this time not because of grief, but because my own daughter pushed me into invisibility. One afternoon, while I was in the yard pruning the crepe myrtles that Daryl had planted years ago, I heard Deja talking on the phone with my other daughter, my stepdaughter Tamara, who lives in London. "Yeah, I'm staying with Mama, but it's horrible," Deja said. "You have no idea what it's like living with an old woman. Everything about her gets on my nerves." I never realized it when I was younger, but now that I'm around her every day, Mama is just disgusting. She smells weird. Deja laughed, a cruel little laugh, and kept going. "She makes nasty noises. She has those old lady habits that just make me gag. It's gross, nasty, sickening. My own daughter spoke about me like I was some diseased stray dog. I don't know how much longer I can stand it, but I don't have a choice. At least not until I get a job and can afford my own place. She was putting up with me, Not because she loved me, not because she respected me, but because she had no other option. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, Deja's words echoing in my skull. Had I really become that disgusting? Was it really so unbearable to share a roof with me? I got up and went to the bathroom, turned on the harsh light, and looked into the mirror. I saw a 68-year-old black woman, thin, with wrinkles etching my forehead and the corners of my mouth, dark spots dappling my hands, white curls thinning along my scalp. An old woman. That's what Deja saw. A disgusting old woman. The next morning, I tried to talk to her. "Baby," I said, "yesterday I heard you talking on the phone. If my being here bothers you that much, maybe you should find another solution." She stared at me, shocked, like she couldn't believe I'd overheard her private conversation. "Mama, I didn't mean for you to hear that. I was just venting to Tamara. That's all." "But that's how you feel, isn't it?" I asked quietly. She sighed. "Mama, you know I love you. It's just, living together is hard for everybody. So it is just an adjustment period?" I said, as if the problem were logistics and not the fact that my presence made her stomach turn. She forced a smile. "We're just adjusting. That's all. Deja, if you want, I can find another place to live. I don't want to be a burden on you and the kids," I said. "No, Mama, don't say that. This is your house. We're the ones staying here as a favor. A favor." That's exactly how I felt, like someone crashing in her own home on sufferance. The following days were unbearable. Every gesture, every step, every sound I made seemed to irritate Deja. "I'm serving your food on a separate plate," she announced one evening. "The kids get grossed out watching you eat." Another day, she told me not to sit on the living room couch because it ends up smelling like old lady. When my grandkids tried to spend time with me, she always found a way to pull them away. "Jalen, don't bother Grandma. She's tired. Maya, come here. Grandma needs to rest." She talked about me as if I were some terminal patient who couldn't handle a conversation with her own grandchildren. About a month ago, the situation exploded. I was in the kitchen making tea when Deja came in from the grocery store, arms full of heavy bags, face twisted in a frown. "Mama, can you move?" "I need the kitchen," she snapped. "Of course, baby." "I'm just fixing myself some tea," I said, stepping aside. "Oh, Mama, please. You already had tea at 3. Do you really need another one?" She said with a mocking little sigh. "If it bothers you, I won't drink it," I answered. "It's not that it bothers me," she said, slamming jars into the cabinet. "It's just, I don't even know how to say this without hurting you. So say it, Deja." "What's wrong?" I asked. She was quiet for a long time while she put things in the fridge. Then she turned and looked at me with an expression I will never forget. Annoyance, exhaustion, and something far worse, pure disgust. "Mama, the truth is, it's really hard for me to live with you," she said. "Everything you do gets on my nerves. The way you eat, the way you breathe, the way you move around the house. It's like your very presence disgusts me. It just does." My daughter had just told me that my existence disgusted her. "It's not your fault, Mama," she continued. "It's just that you're old, and old people are, well, they're disgusting by nature. They smell weird. They make weird noises. They have nasty habits. I know it's horrible to say, but I can't help how I feel." "A disgusting old woman," I repeated in my head. That was the label she had pasted on her mother. "Deja, I said, with a calm I did not feel. "Do you really think I'm disgusting?" "Mama, please don't make me feel worse than I already do. I know it's wrong. I know you're my mother and I owe you respect, but I can't change the way I feel. When I see you eat, I want to throw up. When you walk into a room, I feel uncomfortable. Sometimes when you hug me, I have to fight not to gag. My hug, my arms that had held her through childhood fevers and heartbreaks, now made her nauseous. I stood there in that kitchen, holding my mug, staring at the woman who had come from my body, whom I had fed, clothed, protected, guided for 35 years. And she was telling me that my existence repulsed her. I understand, I said quietly. Don't worry, Deja. It's not your fault you feel how you feel. Aren't you mad at me, Mama? She whispered. No, baby. I'm not mad. I'm just sad, I told her. Maybe it'll get better with time, she said. Maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe she'd get used to enduring my disgusting presence. What a hopeful forecast for my final years on this earth. That night, sitting at the little desk in my bedroom with an old lamp burning, I made the most important decision of my life. If my presence was so unbearable to my own daughter, if just existing under the same roof made her skin crawl, then I was going to disappear. But I was not going to leave like some broken, pitiful old woman. I was going to leave like someone who still had dignity. What Deja didn't know was that her disgusting mother had been very careful with money her whole life. The house we shared was worth around $300,000. I owned 2 small rental duplexes on the west side of town worth about $150,000 each. I had roughly $200,000 saved in the bank. Altogether, my net worth was about $800,000, money Deja assumed she'd one day inherit. But after hearing that I disgusted her, that my presence repulsed her, that my embrace made her stomach churn, I decided my daughter wasn't going to see a single penny of it. If I was so disgusting, then my money must be, too. The next morning, I called my attorney, Dr. Terrence Cole, who'd known me for 30 years. Doctor, I need to see you as soon as possible. It's about my will and my properties, I told him. In his office downtown, I told him everything. How my daughter had looked me in the eye and said I disgusted her. How I decided to disappear for good. Miss Lewis, are you absolutely sure you want to do this? He asked gently. It's an extreme decision. Doctor, my own daughter told me I make her want to vomit, I replied. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? I understand your pain, Mrs. Lewis, he said carefully, but your daughter is going through a difficult time. The separation, the children, the money. A person can say many things under pressure, I cut in. But when somebody looks you in the eye and tells you that you disgust them, that comes from the soul. That's not an impulse. That's truth coming out. And what exactly do you plan to do? He asked. I want to sell it all, doctor. The house, the duplexes. I want to clear out my accounts, and then I want to disappear. No trail, no address, nothing. Cole was silent for a long time. And where will you go? He finally asked. Anywhere a disgusting old woman can live in peace, I answered. Somewhere far away from children who look at her like she's a stain. And the money from the sales? He asked. That comes with me. Every dollar. It'll be for my new life, I said. For the next 2 weeks, I put into motion the most elaborate plan I'd ever created. I hired a discreet real estate firm to sell my properties. I told them it was urgent, that I was willing to accept below market value if they could close quickly. In 10 days, everything was gone. The house we lived in sold for $250,000. The 2 duplexes sold for $120,000 each. I withdrew all my savings from the bank. When it was done, I had $710,000 in cash and in a newly opened account, enough to let me live comfortably for the rest of my life almost anywhere I chose. Meanwhile, Deja noticed nothing. I kept acting like the same disgusting old woman, doing my best not to make noise, not to irritate her with my existence. She continued to dodge me, avoiding conversation, pulling the kids away from me whenever she could. One afternoon, while she was out at a job interview, I sat Jalen and Maya down on the couch. Jalen, Maya, Grandma loves you very much, I told them. I want you to always remember that. Why are you saying that, Grandma? Maya asked in her soft, 8-year-old voice. Are you going to die? No, baby. I'm not dying, I said, forcing a smile. But I might have to go on a long trip. Where are you going, Grandma? Jalen asked. I don't know yet, baby. But I want you to know you two are the best thing that ever happened to me. I gave each of them an envelope with $1,000 inside. This is for when you're bigger. It's a gift from your disgusting grandma. Grandma, why do you call yourself disgusting? Jalen frowned. We don't think you're disgusting. I know, my loves, Visha, I said. You see me with loving eyes, but some people see me differently. Last Wednesday was the day I chose to disappear. Deja had finally gotten a job at an accounting firm and was starting that morning. The children had school until 5. I had the whole day to carry out my plan without anyone in the way. At 8 in the morning, after they left, I called a moving company. I need you to come today to pick up some furniture, Wishta, I said. I told them to take only the valuable items, the big TV, the stereo, the computer, the good appliances. I left the old couches and the worn-out chairs, so Deja would understand exactly what had happened. By 10 o'clock, the movers had taken what I wanted gone. At 11, a taxi pulled up to take me to the airport. I had one suitcase with clothes for a week and a shoulder bag where I'd carefully hidden $710,000 in bills of various denominations. Before I walked out the door, I left a letter on the kitchen table. I had written and rewritten it 10 times until it was exactly what I wanted to say. The letter read, Deja, since you told me that my presence disgusted you, I decided to give you what you wanted most, my permanent absence. I have sold everything I owned and I have left forever. Now you will never again have to put up with this disgusting old woman in your home. Be happy. Your disgusting mother, Kendra. At noon, I was already at the airport, waiting for my flight to Miami. I had chosen Miami as my hiding place because it's one of the easiest places to disappear in the noise. With my money, I could arrange a new identity, rent an apartment, and live comfortably without anybody ever tracking me down. On the plane, I felt lighter than I had in months. I was no longer the repulsive old woman tiptoeing in her own house. I was no longer the grandmother being kept at arm's length from her grandchildren. I was Kendra Lewis, a 68-year-old woman with $710,000 and the rest of her life ahead of her. I arrived in Miami around 8 that evening. At the airport, one of Dr. Cole's contacts was waiting, a man who specialized in helping people vanish and start over. Mrs. Lewis, he said, shaking my hand. My name is Khalil. Welcome to your new life. Ready to disappear? Within a week, I had new documents, a new bank account, a rented apartment in a quiet Miami neighborhood, and a new phone number. Officially, Kendra Lewis of New Orleans had vanished from the face of the earth. In her place now lived Kendra Lane, a retired widow from Georgia living peacefully on her savings. Meanwhile, back in Louisiana, Deja came home after her first day of work and found my letter on the kitchen table. My older sister Asha later told me that Deja called her screaming into the phone. Auntie Asha, Mama's gone. She took things from the house and left a letter saying she's never coming back. What exactly did the letter say? Asha asked her. Deja read it word for word. When she finished, Asha was silent for a long time. Deja, did you really tell your mother she disgusted you? She finally asked. Yes, Deja sobbed, but I was angry. I didn't mean it. Deja Ikshi, your mama is a proud woman. If she left, it's because she was deeply, deeply hurt, Asha said. Auntie, help me find her. She can't have gone far. She doesn't have money, Deja insisted. She just has her little retirement and a small savings account. Asha let out a bitter laugh. Deja, baby, your mama owns that big house, That's a fortune by itself. Plus 2 rental buildings. And savings you can't even imagine. If she left with everything. And if she sold those houses, she might be close to a millionaire right now. Deja fainted. Literally fainted right there on the kitchen floor when she realized how much money she had lost by calling me disgusting. When she came to, she cried like a madwoman. Auntie, I didn't know Mama had that kind of money. If I'd known, I never would have said those things to her. Deja, the problem ain't that you didn't know she had money, Asha replied. The problem is that you looked your own mother in the face and told her she disgusted you. You don't do that, even if she's got $1 to her name. But Auntie, I was stressed, frustrated, angry, Deja insisted. I didn't mean to hurt her that bad. Intent doesn't erase impact, Papi, Asha said. Words can't be unsaid. And your mama? She's not a woman who forgives humiliation easily. Asha was right. I am not a woman who forgives humiliation. And the deepest humiliation of my life was hearing my own daughter say I made her sick. During my first months in Miami, Deja moved heaven and earth trying to find me. She hired private detectives, ran ads online and in local papers, and even contacted police in other states. But the woman she was looking for, old Kendra Lewis, no longer existed on paper. And Kendra Lane? She was invisible. Asha kept me informed of everything by phone. Kendra, your daughter is desperate, Asha told me. She's lost 15 kilos. She doesn't eat. She doesn't sleep. The kids ask every day when Grandma is coming home. What does she tell them? I asked. She says Grandma went on a trip, but will be back soon, Asha replied. Asha, I'm not coming back, I said. Not now. Not ever. Sister, maybe she learned her lesson, Asha pleaded. Maybe now she understands what she lost. Asha, if Deja truly valued me, she never would have told me I disgusted her, I said. What she values now is the money that slipped through her fingers, not the mother she humiliated. And the grandkids? Don't you care about them? She asked softly. That question cut deeper than Deja's words. Of course I cared about my grandchildren. I miss them every single day. I do care, I said. But I made a choice, and I'm going to stick with it. Jalen and Maya will grow up with the mother they have, a mother who teaches them that old people are gross, that family can be trashed when they become inconvenient. Maybe it's better they don't have a granny who believes the opposite under the same roof. It'd only confuse them. 3 months ago, Asha told me Deja had to leave my old house because she couldn't afford the rent to the new owner. She moved with the kids into a cramped apartment in a rough neighborhood. She's working 2 jobs, Asha said, just to keep food on the table. And the kids? I asked. They're sad. Kendra, real sad. They ask about you every day. Jalen told me something that broke my heart, Asha went on. Auntie Asha, he said, is it true Grandma left because we were bad grandkids? The poor boy thinks you left because of him. That night, I cried for the first time since arriving in Miami. I cried because my grandson believed I'd abandoned him. I cried because a decision I had made to punish my daughter was also falling on 2 innocent children. But even then, I did not change my mind. If my grandchildren are suffering, I told myself, it's because their mother chose to humiliate their grandmother, knowing how fragile the situation was. The consequences of her words aren't going to land on me alone. Last month, Asha told me Deja had started therapy. She's been diagnosed with major depression, Asha explained. Her therapist says she has to face the guilt of losing her mother because of her own words. And what does she say in therapy? I asked. She says she regrets it, Asha told me. That she would give anything to ask your forgiveness. Asha, if Deja regrets something, it's not the words she threw at me. She regrets the financial consequences of those words, I said. Do you really believe that? Asha asked quietly. If I'd been a broke old woman with no house and no savings, do you really think she would be hiring detectives and crying herself sick to find me? I asked. Asha didn't answer. She knew I was right. If I'd been penniless, Deja would have gladly watched me disappear. Here in Miami, I built a new life. I live in a cozy apartment 5 blocks from the beach. My neighbors know nothing about my past. I've picked up enough Spanish to get around on my own. For the first time in years, nobody looks at me like I'm some foul thing. I've met other retirees from the South who've come down here to live out their last years in the sun. We play cards on Thursdays. We have lunch together on Sundays. We go on little excursions on weekends. I have a social life with people who respect me, who like my company, who don't find my presence disgusting. I met Zuri, a 68-year-old widow who lost her husband 2 years ago. She's elegant, sharp, cooks like an angel, and treats me with gentle affection. We haven't talked about marriage or anything like that, but we enjoy each other's company a lot. You always have this sadness in your eyes, Zuri told me last week. What happened back home that hurt you so bad? I told her part of my story. I didn't mention the money. I just said that my daughter had said some very cruel things to me, and that's why I left. And you don't miss your family? She asked. I miss my grandbabies, Zuri, I admitted. But I don't miss the humiliation. And if your daughter asked you for forgiveness, sincerely, from her heart, she asked gently, if she truly changed, Zuri, there are things you can forgive, and there are things that scar your soul, I said. When your own daughter tells you that you disgust her, that leaves a mark that never fades. One afternoon, I got a call I wasn't expecting. It was Dr. Cole. Mr. Lewis, I need to talk to you about a legal matter, he said. What is it, doctor? I asked, my heart tightening. Your daughter has hired lawyers to contest the sale of your properties, he explained. She claims you sold them under emotional duress. Is that possible? I asked. No, ma'am, he answered firmly. You signed everything while fully in command of your faculties. I have the psychological assessments I requested you complete, the signed documents. No one can reverse those sales. And what else is she planning? I asked. She wants the court to declare you legally incompetent to manage your money and to appoint her as your guardian, he said. She argues that a sane mother would never abandon her daughter and grandchildren. Doctor, would a sane daughter look her mother in the eye and tell her she disgusts her? I asked. Of course not, Ms. Lewis, he replied. But your daughter is desperate. She's lost her house. She works 2 jobs. The children are seeing therapists. She's doing everything she can to get that money back. Let her try, I said. She won't get a cent. Yesterday, Asha called me with news that surprised me. Kendra, Deja moved again, she said. Moved where? I asked. To a boarding house. With the kids, Asha said. She can't afford the apartment anymore. The kids had to leave their private school because she can't pay tuition. And how are they? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Bad, Kendra? Real bad. Jalen asked me if you died, and that's why you never come back. Maya hardly speaks since they moved to that place, she added. Asha, I didn't choose for my grandkids to suffer, I said. Deja chose to spit in my face, knowing she had children who depended on me. And there's nothing she can do for you to forgive her? Asha asked. Would you forgive someone who told you that you disgust them? Your own child? I asked. Asha went quiet. I don't know, sister, she admitted. It's very painful what she did to you. Then you understand why I can't, I said. This morning, as I sipped coffee on my balcony, watching the waves roll in, I thought about everything that had happened in the last 8 months. Deja had lost her home, her financial stability, her peace of mind. My grandkids had lost their school, their home, their grandmother. I had lost my family, but I had regained my dignity. Was it worth it? Was it worth 2 innocent children suffering for their mother's cruelty? I don't know. What I do know is that I could not keep living with someone who looked at me like something repulsive. Kendra, don't you regret anything? Zuri asked me yesterday. Don't you regret going so far? Cutting off everyone back home? I regret many things, Zuri, I told her. I regret raising a daughter capable of telling her mother she disgusts her. I regret not setting boundaries earlier. I regret tolerating humiliation for so long. But you don't regret leaving? She asked. No, I said firmly. I don't regret leaving. I regret not leaving sooner. 2 weeks ago, I received another call from Asha, but this time she was sobbing. Kendra, I have terrible news, she choked out. Jalen is in the hospital. My heart stopped. What happened to my grandson? He tried to commit suicide, she said. He cut his wrists with a razor. My phone slipped in my hand. My 12-year-old grandson had tried to end his life. Asha, how is he? I asked. He's alive, she said, but he's in very bad shape mentally. When they found him, he was holding a letter addressed to you. What did the letter say? I whispered. It said, Grandma, I'm going where you are, because I can't live here without you. I'm sorry for being a bad grandson. I love you. Kendra, he truly believes you left because of him. I broke down, sobbing like a child. My grandson had tried to kill himself because he thought his grandma had abandoned him. I want to talk to him, I said. You can't yet, Kendra, Asha said. Jalen is in child psychiatry. He can't talk on the phone, but the doctors say he keeps repeating your name. I want Grandma. I want Grandma. And Deja, she's destroyed. She blames herself for everything. That night, I didn't sleep a minute. I walked the beach for hours, thinking of my grandson in a hospital bed, thinking of the ripple effects of my choice. I had meant to punish my daughter. Instead, I'd branded an innocent child. The following morning, I called Dr. Cole. Doctor, I need to go back to New Orleans immediately. My grandson is in the hospital, I told him. Mrs. Lewis, are you sure? He asked. If you go back, your daughter will know where you are. Doctor, my grandson tried to kill himself because he thinks I abandoned him, I said. I don't care what that means for my daughter anymore. Can you get me a flight? Of course, he said. The first available one. 6 hours later, I was on a plane heading back to New Orleans after 8 months in exile. I carried only a small suitcase and $50,000 in cash. The rest of the money remained in Miami, in an account only Zuri knew about. I arrived at 10 in the morning. Asha was waiting by the arrivals gate. When she saw me, she burst into tears. Kendra, thank you for coming back, she said, hugging me tight. Jalen's been calmer since we told him you were on your way. And Deja? I asked. She's a wreck, sister, Asha said. She's lost nearly 20 kilos. She's on antidepressants. She can barely hold a job. And Maya? I asked. Better than Jalen, Asha replied, but still hurting. She doesn't understand why Grandma left without saying goodbye. On the way to the hospital, Asha filled me in on everything. Deja had stopped working full-time because of her depression. The kids spent most nights at Asha's house because Deja couldn't handle them on her own. Your daughter has hit rock bottom, Asha said. She has lost everything. Her home, her job, her stability, and almost her son. I never wanted things to go this far, yet, I whispered. I know, Asha said, but words have consequences. Deja is paying for all of them at once. We arrived at the hospital at noon. Jalen was in a room on the pediatric psychiatric wing. When I walked in, he started crying and wrapped his thin arms around me like I was the only thing keeping him alive. Grandma, I thought I'd never see you again, he sobbed. I thought you left because you didn't love me. Oh, baby, I whispered, stroking his hair. Grandma loves you more than anything in this world. I didn't leave because of you. I left because of things between me and your mama. But are you going to stay? He asked, eyes wide and terrified. I looked into those innocent eyes that had no idea what had passed between his mother and me. I couldn't lie. Grandma came back to see you, to hug you, to tell you how much she loves you, I said. But I don't know yet if I'm staying forever. Why, Grandma? He asked. What did Mom do that was so bad you can't forgive her? She said things that hurt me a lot, baby, I answered. Things a child should never say to their parent. But you can't forgive her, he pressed. Mom cries every day saying she was terrible to you. Jalen, some things are easier to forgive than others, I said. But what matters is that you know Grandma loves you no matter what happens between me and your mama. I spent the whole afternoon with him. We played cards. I told him stories like before. He told me what had happened in these 8 months. Grandma, Mom said you were a millionaire, and because of her big mouth we lost everything, he said sadly. And what do you think about that? I asked. I don't care if you're a millionaire or broke, he said. I just missed you. Mom, I think she missed the money. She always talked about the money we lost. Children see everything. They understand more than we think, even if they don't know how to say it. At 6 p.m, Deja arrived at the hospital. She stopped in the doorway when she saw me, frozen, afraid to come closer. She was a shadow of herself, thin, pale, with dark circles carved into her face, hair unkempt, clothes worn and rumpled. She looked like a ghost. Mama, she said in a cracked voice, thank you for coming back. I came for Jalen, I answered. I came because my grandson tried to kill himself, thinking I left because of him. I know I don't deserve anything from you, she said quietly, but I need to talk to you. Talk, I said. Not here? Can we go somewhere private? She asked. We left Jalen with Asha and went down to the hospital cafeteria. Deja sat across from me and started crying uncontrollably. Mama, I'm the worst daughter in the world, she sobbed. What I did to you has no forgiveness. Do you even understand what you did? I asked calmly. I told you that you disgusted me, she said, choking on her words. I told you that you were nasty, that your presence repulsed me. Those were the cruelest words I could have said to you. Why did you say them? I asked. Because I was angry, frustrated, bitter about the divorce, she said. I took it all out on you because you were the easiest target. Because I thought no matter what I said, you'd always forgive me. Do you hear yourself? I asked quietly. You're telling me you mistreated me because you knew I'd never leave you. You abused my love. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, staring down at the table. You're right, Mama, she whispered. I abused your love, your patience, your kindness. And when you left, I realized what I had lost. Did you realize you had lost your mother? I asked. Or did you realize you'd lost a fortune? She hesitated. At first, I'm going to be honest, I panicked about the money, she admitted. I thought, I just threw away $1 million with my own mouth. And then? I asked. Then the months went by, she said. I saw my children asking for you every single day. I saw Jalen sinking into sadness. And I realized I'd lost something far more valuable than money. What? I asked. I lost the best mother in the world, she said, looking me straight in the eye. I lost the woman who raised me, who protected me, who always showed up. I lost my hero. If I was your hero, I asked, how could you tell me I disgusted you? Because I was stupid, Mama, ungrateful, blind. I didn't know the value of what I had until it was gone, Imani, she said, sobbing again. What do you want from me now? I asked. I want you to forgive me, she said. I want you to come back home. I want us to be a family again. I don't have a home here anymore, I reminded her. I sold the house. I know, she said. But we could rent somewhere together. I'm working. I can help with expenses. And how do I know it, I asked, that if we live together again, you won't treat me like trash the moment you're stressed? Because I've learned the most painful lesson of my life, she said. Because I almost lost my son over what I did. Because I see now that without you, we're nothing. You said old people were disgusting by nature, I reminded her. I'm still old. Do I still disgust you? Please don't make me repeat those words, she said, trembling. I'm ashamed of them. You're not disgusting, Mama. You're the most beautiful thing I have left. If I ever complain again about your old lady habits, you have every right to do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. You have the right to live, to breathe, to move without asking my permission. I have no right to judge you or mistreat you ever again. The words you said to me can't be erased by an apology, I told her. I know, she said, but maybe they can be softened by actions. Let me show you I can be the daughter you deserve. That night, I stayed in a small hotel near the hospital. Sleep never came. I kept thinking about every step I'd taken, every choice I'd made. My grandson had tried to commit suicide partly because of me. My daughter was shattered partly because of me. I had wanted to give a lesson, but I had broken a family. The next day, I went back early. Jalen was brighter, more present. Grandma, are you going to stay now? He asked. I don't know, Jalen, I answered honestly. It's complicated. But you'll come see me, right? He said. Of course, baby, I said. Even if I live on the moon, I'll come see you. A little later, Asha arrived with Maya. As soon as she saw me, my granddaughter ran into my arms. Grandma, I missed you so much, she cried. Why did you leave without saying goodbye? Because Grandma was very angry, sweetheart, I said gently. Grown-ups sometimes do wrong things when we're too mad. Are you mad now? She asked. Less mad, I admitted. But what happened still hurts. Did Mom ask you to forgive her? Maya asked. Yes, I said. She did. And are you going to? She asked. I don't know, I answered. Forgiving is hard when someone wounds you so deeply. Around noon, Deja came with a bouquet of flowers and a folded letter. Mama, I wrote this for you, she said. It's everything I couldn't tell you in 8 months. I read the letter right there. It was long and detailed. She acknowledged every insult, every humiliation, every cold glance and cruel word. Mama, the letter ended. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I have been the worst daughter in the world. But if you give me a chance, I will spend the rest of my life trying to become the daughter I should have always been. I love you. Your repentant daughter, Deja. What do you think of it, Mama? She asked nervously. It's beautifully written, I said. But letters are easy. Change is hard. Then let me prove it, she said. Let me show you I can change. And if, in 6 months, you talk to me like you did before? I asked. If you let frustration turn me into your punching bag again, then you have every right to walk away again, she said, and this time forever, with no second chances. I'm not the same woman who left 8 months ago, I said. I've lived alone. I've learned to value my independence. I've met people who respect me. I don't know if I want to risk my peace on my daughter's mood swings again. So you're not going to give me any chance? She asked, eyes filling with tears. I'll give you one, I said slowly, but with very clear conditions. Whatever you want, Mama, she said quickly. First condition, I said. If we live together again, I will pay my share of all the expenses. I won't live anywhere as a favor. You don't have to pay for anything, Deja protested. You're my mother. It's necessary for me, I insisted. I want to live as an equal, not as a burden. Okay, she said quietly. What's the second condition? At the first sign of mistreatment, at the very first time you make me feel unwelcome, I leave, and I don't come back, I said. I accept, she whispered. Are there more? Third condition, I said. We're going to live in neutral territory. Not in my old house, not in any place that holds old ghosts. A new place where we both start from zero. And how are we going to afford that? She asked. I brought money from Miami a Sabucas, I said. Not all of it, but enough to rent something decent. You still have money? She asked, surprised. Enough, I answered. I'm not a millionaire like before, but I'm not broke either. And the rest of it? She asked. The rest stayed in Miami in case I need to go back, I said. Are you planning to? She asked fearfully. If you ever treat me like trash again, yes, I answered. I'll go back, and this time there won't be a third chance. It won't be necessary, she said. I swear on my children. Her oaths didn't impress me like they used to, but for the sake of my grandchildren, I decided to try. A week ago, Jalen was discharged from the hospital. We found a 3-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood. It's simple but nice. Everyone has their own room. Deja has, so far, kept every promise. She speaks to me with respect. She invites me into conversations. She asks my opinion. She no longer shudders when I sit beside her. But I stay cautious. It's easy to be good for a week, or a month. What's hard is staying that way for life. That's why I keep my account in Miami. That's why I didn't cancel my return ticket. The kids are overjoyed to have me back. Jalen tells me everything I missed, how he'd dream I was coming back, how he kept asking Asha if there'd been any news. Maya helps me cook, like before, telling me school gossip and asking for advice about her friends. Deja found a better job at a small company that lets her work part-time so she can be with the children more. Mama, she told me yesterday, thank you for giving me this chance. I know I didn't deserve it. Chances aren't about deserving them, I replied. They're about how you use them. I'm not going to waste this one, she said. I promise. Don't promise me anything, I told her. Just keep treating me right. That'll be enough. And if one day I slip, she asked, if I'm in a bad mood and I talk to you wrong without meaning to. There's a difference, I said, between having a bad day and telling your mother she disgusts you. A huge difference. And how will I know where the line is? She asked. You'll know, I said. Your heart will tell you when you're crossing it. Zuri calls me every day from Miami. How's it going with your family? She asks. For now, okay, so, I say. Do you miss Miami? I miss the calm, I admit. I miss not having to be on guard, waiting for the next hurt. Has your daughter really changed? She asks. I don't know yet, I answer honestly. It's too soon. But she's trying. And if it doesn't work? She asks. If it doesn't, I say, I'll be back. For good, this time. Last night, as we all sat down to dinner, Jalen suddenly asked, Grandma, have you forgiven us? Forgiven who? Baby? I asked. Mom, for treating you bad. Me, for thinking you didn't love me. Maya, for not doing anything when Mom was mean, he said. You and Maya don't have anything to be forgiven for, Kaseye, I said softly. You're children. You didn't have to protect me from your mother. And Mom? He asked. Have you forgiven her? I looked at Deja. She watched me, holding her breath. Forgiveness doesn't happen overnight, I said. It's built over time, with actions and with real change. But you're going to try? Jalen asked. I'm going to try. Baby, I said. But your mama has to help me. After dinner, Deja and I stayed in the kitchen washing dishes. Mama, what can I do to help you forgive me? She asked. Just keep being the daughter you are now, I said. Respectful, affectionate, grateful. Are you going to stay? She asked. I'm going to try, I replied. But I can't promise anything yet. What do you need to feel safe staying? She asked quietly. Time, I said. Time to believe you've really changed. How much time? She asked. I don't know, I answered. 6 months? A year? Maybe more. And if in a year I convince you I've changed, she asked, will you bring back the rest of the money from Miami? If in a year I'm sure you've truly changed, I said, I'll close that account and bring the rest home. To you who have listened to my story this far, who now know every twist and turn, I want to ask you something important. What words do you use with the people you love? Do you speak with respect, with patience, with tenderness? Or do you believe that, because they love you, you have the right to unload your frustration on them? My daughter thought she could tell me that I disgusted her and that I would forgive her like always. She was wrong. Some words kill love. Some words shatter bonds. They don't vanish when you apologize. They live, engraved in the heart of the person who heard them. Have you ever told someone in your family that they disgust you? Called them gross, nasty, repulsive? If the answer is yes, I want you to understand something. Those words live in that person's chest forever. And maybe, one day, when you least expect it, that person will get up, pack a suitcase, and disappear from your life for good. My advice is this: be careful with the words you use at home. Words can heal, and they can destroy. A kind sentence can light up someone's day. A cruel one can scar an entire life. And if you have ever said something terrible to someone you love, don't wait until it's too late to ask for forgiveness. Don't wait until they disappear, or until you're standing next to a hospital bed or a coffin, realizing what you've lost. Ask for forgiveness now, while you still can. I was lucky. My daughter begged my forgiveness before it was truly too late. Not everyone gets that chance. Not everyone gets to go back and knock on the door they slammed. Is there anyone you owe an apology to? Someone you cut open with your words? If so, don't wait. Call them. Go to them. Say you're sorry while they're still on this side of heaven. And tell me, in the comments, from which country you're listening to me, and whether this story made you think, even a little, about the language you use with your family. Because that reflection might save a relationship. It might stop someone from having to sell everything, run away, and start over in another city just to feel human again. My story isn't finished yet. I don't know if I'll stay here in Louisiana or if I'll end up back in Miami. That depends on whether my daughter has truly changed or is just acting until the storm passes. But I do know this: I will never again let anyone treat me like something disgusting. Not my daughter. Not anyone. Because I have learned that it is better to be alone with dignity than accompanied in humiliation. And that lesson might be worth more than all the money I left behind.